Hello, namaste, and welcome to Breakout with me, Ava. We are talking about the art of making and breaking rules, and my guests, are always people who have gone beyond themselves to do something way bigger than themselves, more meaningful, and they are willing to share their insights with us. Today, my guest is somebody very different from my usual guest and a very, very special person. You can see him on my side. He is Swami Swarupananda. He doesn't need an introduction, but he is one of the key experts and the people who speak everything from the Bhagavad Gita. He is the master himself, and I'm privileged today to have the master on my show talk to me and talk to all of us about Bhagavad Gita and what we can do in our lives, in our businesses to make it better. Can we break rules via the Bhagavad Gita? That is my question to him. I'm going to put that question to him. Before that, I'm going to gift my book Nucleus to him. Sir, thank you very much for being here. I am very, very grateful for your time. Thank you very much. So my questions first. In my book, because I've used a couple of things from the Bhagavad Gita, I used to ask my mother when I was a child that, mother, the Bhagavad Gita has been written on a battlefield. It says Krishna is telling Arjuna to be calm on the battlefield, to go and kill his kin for the sense of duty, and so on and so forth. I don't fully understand. Over the years, I did understand what it meant, but I'd like from you to tell us why Bhagavad Gita has been set on the battlefield. What does the battlefield mean in real life?
Actually, whole life is a battlefield only.
Exactly.
Is it not?
Is it? It is.
So, battlefield is a kind of an analogy given.
Right.
And of course, since it's being addressed to a leader of mankind,
Right.
and naturally in the political field, and that to also a prince, a soldier, it's in the middle of the battlefield. And why a battlefield is chosen for a scenario like this? Because there's no situation in life, no crisis of life, which is as bad as when there is a war.
Right.
And that too also if it's a civil war.
Right.
Worse if it's between families.
True.
And in which family such a war is not going on, please?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Whether it's for a will or for some property. So there's constantly a battle that is going on in our life.
True.
And inside us also there's always this conflict going on.
Right.
So actually everything in life, whether we are dealing in business and there's a conflict in business or even decision making, so we are constantly facing these challenges.
True.
Which is actually a battle going on within us and even outside us.
Absolutely.
And therefore, this knowledge should be applicable to us in the marketplace of our life.
Right.
And that is why the Bhagavad Gita has been
On the battle.
on the battle.
Right, I agree. I think from starting from our inner battles to the places of work, if we go out with friends, in schools, in education, everything is so much like a constant dynamic where people have to fight to move ahead, which surprisingly is the nice thing that we learn in life about let's be, nice all the time doesn't work. So I think Bhagavad Gita teaches a very powerful lesson over there. So my next question to you is, we are all seeking success, and especially in business, every individual is seeking success. And Gita has a very powerful prescription and analogy of success through positive actions. So action has a key role to play when it comes to to Krishna's teaching to Arjun. So I would love you to please tell us more about positive action and how action can be implemented.
See, the majority of the portion of the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna has pointed out various different techniques of mind management, and through mind management, action management.
Okay.
Success is a very vague word that people use. What is successful for you may not be successful
Absolutely.
for me.
Yes.
Depends on what goals we set for ourselves,
Right.
what standards we set for ourselves. Like I remember in 1984, there was this Olympic runner, and he won the gold medal.
Right.
The whole world is thrilled, and he's being honored, and he didn't look very happy. So they asked him that how does it feel that you won that medal which thousands have competed for? He wasn't happy. And if success doesn't bring you happiness,
Right.
is it success? And they asked, why are you not feeling successful? Why don't you feel happy? He said, I did get the gold medal, but I did not break the world record. So, what standard, what goal we set for ourselves,
True.
and what gives us a sense of contentment and happiness
Right.
on its achievement,
Right.
that we would call as success.
Right.
That too, also success which can be gained by mere dominion, could be gained by crooked
Yes.
means,
Yes. Yes.
definitely is not the glory of a person.
Right.
Ravan also managed to kidnap Sita by disguising himself.
Right.
Is that the glory of Ravan?
He might have called it success, but I think we all call him Raman for that.
We call him Ravan for that.
Right, right.
There's no glory in such success.
Right, right.
While the vulture Jatayu
Yes.
died fighting for protecting a woman in distress
Right.
and gave up his life.
Right.
Would you call him a failure?
True. True. Completely agree. I think yes,
Yeah.
success has different meanings for everybody. But
Yes.
however, when we go into the surface world where everybody is sort of gunning for the same thing, and it has become so hugely competitive that and comparative that I think it's difficult for people to even fathom that success lies within their
That-
own version
That's
of
why we are
what-
constantly comparing
yeah, so-
ourselves to others.
True.
We are always affected by what people think.
True.
We set our standard by the Jones, as you say.
Exactly. Right.
See, that's why the Bhagavad Gita comes in, is first of all recognize your innate nature,
True.
your swabhava,
Right.
which means your innate skills,
Yes.
the talents that you have,
Right.
or the
Right.
talents that you've developed, skills that you've developed. First, recognize who or what you are,
True. True.
and how to bring that potential of yours to the best of your capacity is what is called as efficiency.
Right.
And such efficient action is bound to give success.
Results. Right. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Swamiji, Gita advocates a moral platform for a leader.
Yeah.
And leading from the front with an equipoised mind, a sense of competence, and a sense of maximizing gains. Now, it means a total confluence of mind and action both. Somewhere around here, when we see our leaders and we see how they are the leaders in the, if I say the political sense or the popular sense, we don't see that kind of morality existing today, which we expect of a leader. Why has that happened, and what could we do now as people watching these leaders? What could these leaders do? Because we feel helpless. We can't influence the leader. Leaders are supposed to influence us.
That's true. when the leaders influence us, it's called as inspiration.
Right.
When the people force the leader, it's called revolution.
We are on the verge of that, right? So, what do you think about the whole moral, the lack of morality? I would say the paucity that we see today. It's disturbing for any right-thinking person.
Yeah. So as you pointed out, a leader, very often we see a leader as someone who will stand forward and lead people. The Bhagavad Gita way of leading is very different.
Right.
Bhagavan says, Yadyada charati sreshtaha tattat devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. See, there is many type of leadership. You have power, you have dominion, you've got an edge over someone, or you have people who have profit motive and you use them, misuse them.
Right.
There's so many ways you can manipulate people.
Right.
So there are many types of leadership.
Right.
But the greatest leadership is by example, by inspiration.
True.
Yeah? So that type of leadership where Krishna says, do not stop the people and try to tell them that you are wrong and lead them. Nobody's going to listen. In fact, join them. Be a part of them
Right.
rather than stand in front of them and be pushed by them.
Right.
Be a part of them, but act differently. They act out of their greed, selfishness. You act out of well-being of everyone.
Right.
Such a person's action has to excel.
Right.
Such a person has to become admirable and lovable by people.
Absolutely.
And when people love you, admire you, they will follow you.
True.
Yeah,
So
you
that's very simple.
where you
actually.
don't have to
Pull them. Right.
You just walk along with
Yes.
them and they walk along with
True.
you.
True.
That is the leadership that Gita is pointing out.
Right.
The third chapter we find this beautiful, what to say, indication to Arjuna
Right.
on who is a good leader
Right.
and how each one of us, when we have a sense of responsibility, and moral and ethical strength.
Right.
Each one of us is a leader for someone, whether
True.
we know it or not.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
chain of life,
Right.
we look up to someone and we follow someone.
True.
And there are always known or unknown people following our example.
True.
And therefore, as our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda used to say, you change
Things change.
and
Everybody
change.
changes.
Even Mahatma Gandhi has
Yes,
said, be
right.
the change
You want
that you want to see in
True.
others.
True.
So the best thing is in leadership is that you live your moral and
Yeah.
ethical values
Right.
with strength. And all moral and ethical values are those which bring about a teamwork,
Right.
a sense of well-being for everyone.
Right.
It's not about just me, it's
Right.
about us.
Yes.
And in such a group of unity, oneness, leadership is just natural.
Right.
No?
And I think morality is something which appeals to just about everybody, despite the fact that people may be in whatever state.